Welcome back to the program, Psychophants. Okay, a bit of a detour today, project detour. This one was not on the list, but we're adding it to the list. Basically what happened was a couple days ago, well, actually more than that, probably 5 or 6 days ago, I was cleaning the rear of the car and I pulled both taillights out to get 20 years of grime and leaves and stuff out from the seals and the jams and stuff, and they were absolutely just filthy. They were horrible, and it took a lot of elbow grease to get them out too. What happens is the rubber seals behind here, they stick to the body panel, the metal behind it. Over 20 years, it sort of just adheres to itself, and so when you try to put your pry tools in here to pull it out and push from the back, it doesn't want to go out. So I wrestled with this one for about 15 or 20 minutes, finally got it out, cleaned it all up, put it back in. Then when I did the passenger side one, I had a hell of a time getting it out. It took probably 30 to 35 minutes to get it out, and I had 5 or 6 pry tools all around it, trying to get just a little bit of leverage so I could get my fingers behind it and yank it out and push it from behind and stuff. And finally, I got enough room behind there to get my fingers behind it and pull it out. But what happened was the rubber seal gasket that sits between the lens housing and the body, it was stuck to the body. And so when I pulled the lens out, the entire gasket just stayed on the car. And I thought, oh shit, maybe I screwed up, maybe I didn't take my time and didn't do it right, or I didn't get my pry tools properly behind the rubber gasket. But no, as it turned out, the rubber gasket was just, it must have been super glued on there or something. It was not coming out. So I did clean up that rear, the lens and behind it, and got all the leaves and dirt and stuff out of that as well. And when I put it back in, I broke a piece off. Probably can't see it, I'll show you in a second, but I broke a piece off of the lens housing down at the bottom. And I also noticed that there's a piece broken with the where you put the bulbs in the back too. It wasn't just a sort of an adapter problem where you put the bulb in the adapter, then you plug the adapter into the lens housing. There's actually some where those prongs come together, they're completely snapped and broken off. I don't know if it was like that or it happened when I pulled the lens out and was putting a lot of force on it. But anyways, it threw a rear brake light air. I thought, well, initially I'll just, it must be a bulb out or something, I'll take a look at it. But no, when I got behind her, I noticed that the lens really was kind of broken and stuff. So I had a number of things going on here, so I just said to order a new lens. And of course, in deciding to do that, I basically committed to just keeping the lenses looking stock. So, really for the price of one OEM lens stock, I could have bought 2 that were like clear or smoked or something like that. But I just really like to look at the stock lenses and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this one out. We're going to pull the passenger side one out. We're going to look at the gasket that's sort of stuck on there, because the new lens housing has a gasket. And I'd like to take the one off that's been on there for 20 years. So we're going to have to get behind there and just throw some elbow grease at it and get it out. Take all the bulbs out of the existing one, put it in the new lens, put it in, and hopefully that'll fix my brake light issue, among other things, and we'll address the cosmetic stuff as well. So let's get started. Okay, nothing real complicated here. We just need to unscrew this back cover off, get them out. Now we have access to the back of the rear tail light. And I have to pull the plug out. And this is a pain in the ass. Depending on how long yours have been on there, the electrical plug could be a bitch to get out. It took me a good 10 minutes to yank mine off. That was with screwdrivers and everything else. One of them came off pretty easy. This one was really hard. Of course, I put it back on when I was testing the light. Let me get a pair of gloves so I don't tear my fingers up and try to pull this thing off. Okay. In fact, let me get
screwdriver just in case. Kind of just got to wiggle it back and forth, a millimeter at a time. And of course there are little catches on the top and bottom, but they don't really mean a whole lot, because even when you release them, the plug really doesn't like to come out. So you just have to finagle it. Come on. You know you want to. You know you want to. Here, it's coming. There we go. Okay, I think it came off easier that time because I had already taken off a few days ago. Okay, so now we need to remove, there's just 4 nuts here, 4 connection spots, and we should be able to pull this thing out. So I'm going to grab my socket set. And I think was it 9 millimeters? And that was 9. Let's try 7. Oh shit, of course. Of course, if I first choose 9, then go to 7, it's 8. So okay. All right, so let's loosen these up. Okay, all the nuts are out, and this thing should just pop right out with a little force, since I did all the heavy lifting about a week ago. Maybe not. Let me go back to my gloves. There's always a chance that shoving it back on against that gasket that stayed on the body of the car sort of sealed itself back up again. There we go. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Let's take a look at the front side now. So here's the situation on the front side. And so we've got a little dirt back in there again. I mean, this was totally full of leaves and dirt before I cleaned it out. We'll clean it up just a little bit again here since we have it out. But here's the gasket, that rubber seal gasket that's on there. And it's not, it had to have been super glued on there or something, because the new, it should come off with the lens, okay? It should be right in here. It should stick this, and you can see where some of it's even broken off. So I'm gonna have to devise a game plan here to get this off, because the new lens is gonna have one already on it. And I don't want to take the gasket off the new lens and use this one, because this one's old. So let's clean this up and figure out a way to get this thing off. Alright, I'm just gonna stick a pry tool behind here. See if I can get a start. And oh, what a wonderful existence it would be if it all came off in one piece, but I wouldn't count on it. Maybe if we go slow. There we go. So it should not have been like that. This should have come off with the lens housing. So now to get this crud off, let's take some Goo Gone. Let me let that, while that's sitting in for a minute, let me get the new lens. While we let the Goo Gone set in for a minute, here's the new lens. As you can see, the gasket here, it's already on the lens housing, so that's what we want. So this should just be basically plug and play. And where I kind of broke the lens pulling the original out, you'll see down here, I cracked it off right there. And it should extend further than that. And if I compare them, I broke about 2 inches off the bottom of it. And then also the other thing I did was I was trying to clean the this part off with Goof Off. And Goof Off is a really good cleaner, but it's really strong, and it's, you know, it's got fumes and all that stuff. And one of the things you can't do, you can use it on paint, but you can't get it on like plastics and glass and stuff like that because it'll mar it. And that's what happened here. Actually, I didn't put it directly on this, but the rags I was using on here and my gloves, I think I inadvertently touched this when I had a little bit of residue of Goof Off on there. And I marred the lens up on here. And it's, once you do that, it's not coming off. So I had really 2 or 3 things I was fighting with that lens. So now what I'm going to do is, while that's still setting in, let's take all these bulbs out and pop them into the new lens while we're just sitting here. So to take them out, we'll just do them one at a time. We'll take top right. You just twist them and it pulls out. So we don't get these confused. Put them in one at a time. That's one. Again, twist. Come on. And here's the one that was broken. May be hard to tell, but down here there's a piece of the metal contact stuff that's broken in the housing, and it was, once that's gone, you don't have any, that's what's throwing the brake light. It's not actually the bulb, at least in theory, it's not the bulb, it's the, you no longer have a good contact point in here. So, you know, that was really the straw that broke the camel's back. I had other reasons to replace the lens too, but since that was like that, that was all foobarred up. No sense in keeping this lens if it's got 2 or 3 problems. Okay, so all the new bulbs are in the new housing, so that's good to go. So now that this is set in, let me get my toothbrush. Let's see if some of this comes off. If I gotta break out the Goof Off, I'm not gonna be happy. Stuff works, but it smells. You gotta be careful with it. This might be the better approach. And in theory, we could put the new lens on and it would probably sit, you know, it would sit fine in here even with this on here, but we want it to be perfect, or as close to perfect as we can get it. Using a plastic razor blade here to try to speed this process up. Seems to be helping. Whew. Nasty. No way of getting around the mess. None of them want to do what I want it to do. I'm determined not to use any goof off because I don't want any goof off residue on my fingers or on anything around here because I don't want to mar the lens up again accidentally. Okay, we pretty much got it where we want it. And this is how the other one looked before I put the lens back in. That's the way it should look. Not any stupid rubber gasket on it. Okay. Now let's put the new lens in. There you go. Get that clean one there. Should fit right in like a puzzle piece. As long as you get your bolts lined up properly. There we go. Okay. Let's go back around the other side and screw it in. And as they like to say, installation is reversible removal. So let me just get these nuts started. Actually, it's almost easier to just turn them with the socket for a while. And you want to get this fairly tight so it forms a good watertight seal. You get moisture in these things, but you don't want to over tighten them. And that looks pretty good. So let's plug the power back in. And we should be good to go. New right lens housing is in. Bulbs have been transferred. Now let's go to the car and see if obviously we fixed the cosmetic issues with it, but let's see if we also got rid of our brake light bulb out message on the onboard computer. All right, let's check and see if our brake light air went out. Check control okay. It's exactly what we want. Bingo.
So we can check this one off the list. Well, I guess technically it wasn't on the list, but we added it to the list. The passenger side brake light housing, it was foobarred, had cosmetic issues, it was broken in a couple places, and also the brake light in it didn't work either because the connectors in it were also broken off. So really it needed replaced. Pretty easy fix, not too difficult. Saw the brake light check issue on the onboard computer, so I think we're good to go. So that's done. On to the next project. If you like this video, like it. Didn't like it, don't like it. Share it on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe today so you never miss an episode. Take care.